Radio in motion program loading in 3, 2, 1. Program activated.
Attention everyone, the unpleasant noise you are about to hear coming from your radio is not a mistake.
Okay, first things first, what is your name?
This is Big Sonny playing the best of the 90s and beyond.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah. Radio in motion.
Please do not turn off your radio, but turn up the volume on your receiver as high as it can go.
All right, here we go.
Radio in motion.
All right, thanks for joining me tonight on Radio in Motion's Christmas Rock, talking about, thinking about the holiday season creeping up on you. And like I said before, it's the time of year when hopefully you're all a little bit, we're all a little bit nicer to each other, and we consider the little things between family and friends and strangers. And, I certainly always want to think of the positive this time of year. And, again, the simple things to remember that, we're not that different, no matter what you think, whether they're political dividing lines or just opinions. In the end, I think it's especially, besides the part where everyone is manically driving around trying to grab gifts, besides that part, the sentiment about the time of year when you really do reflect on giving a bit more and considering others, again, not just friends and families, but even strangers. And you look at just neighborhoods and kids in the neighborhood and the neighbors getting to know each other. Yes, that's the kind of thing I always do like to focus on and remind people of that is the true nature, I think, of anyone who just stops to think about we're not that different. We all want the same thing. We want to try to make the best out of life and pass that on to our children and family and friends, and leave the world a better place than how you found it. I know that sounds oversimplified, but those are the things that I do think about. And that's why this subject on this episode of The Ugly Truth is a bit difficult. But look, these things happen, and this is something that's happening now, and it's relevant. And I'll try to keep it as generic and positive as possible. But, I do want to talk about, I think, something that Australia is doing that's a little bit dangerous. And even me talking about it, I'm like, am I going to get canceled? I shouldn't feel like that. You should never feel like that. I believe in open discourse and talking about any subject, unless the two people or whatever group you're in doesn't want to talk about it, then you can respect that and stop. And that's the primary thing I'm going to talk about through all this. And again, I'm going to be talking about Australia's sort of crackdown on hate speech. And I've done episodes about this before. I think that phrase itself is problematic, and it's a slippery slope. Because who defines what hate speech? We'll get into that. And I think primarily we need to understand that it is all about considering respect and having an open conversation, a peaceful, open conversation. Beyond that, if we can't learn that, then yes, I can see how there is a response to be triggered to force people to just have respect for each other. But also, before I get into this, I'm going to say throughout this whole thing, I'm going to talk about one thing, about feelings and facts and actual harm. I'm sorry that they are all different things. And if you already hate me for that, again, you're allowed to have that opinion. Isn't that wonderful? You're allowed to hate my show. Should I stop you from doing that? Should I pass a law? Sonny's show sucks. I don't like tall people. I don't like any of that. Okay, that's your opinion. And it may very well have hurt my feelings. But I'm going to be honest. I think we live in a world where we're all way too sensitive. And I'm not dismissing that there are people out there who are horribly harmful and disrespectful with their words, even if they have a point. They probably went about it wrong. And I'm going to say that first, so you don't think I'm a hypocrite. I think there's a way to go about it. But when anyone is trying to convey facts, not opinion. Now, opinion is also valid. I can have opinion about a movie. I often do. That's another thing that you can't quash that. But if it is an opinion also based on facts and the other person disagrees, okay, that group, the two people, the two groups, whatever it is, the two countries, that's how we get into these things called wars, because we don't talk, because we stop talking. My problem is when the government gets involved and says, I'm going to put a label on this on a specific group, and now it becomes a law, and now we're going to get stuck into why that's a slippery slope. So when I talk about feelings, you know, there are so many occasions in my life or anyone's life, everyone, I never judge anyone until I walk a mile in their shoes, nor should you. Everyone has feelings, and at some point they have been hurt. But everyone around the world, every group of people, you know, men, women of any age, of any cultural background, any color or creed, unless you were to pass a law for everyone and then just call it the people law, even that would be problematic, but a little bit closer to say we want to protect everyone's feelings. First of all, that's ridiculous because you can't. This is my point. Causing harm to someone. Thou shalt not kill. Well, that's a good law. I think that one makes sense. You know, all the warmongers getting into war and making excuses for it. I think that is disgusting and despicable. They should pass a law against that. They have. Thou shalt not kill. Anyway, I'm just saying, when it comes to feelings, you need to get over it. Okay? You either fight the world or you fight the feeling. I'm going to be honest with you, the world's probably going to win. So you should fight the feeling instead. So this is what I'm just, you know, sort of my preface here before I get into it about these laws. So Australia's new laws recently, implementing laws designed to combat anti-Semitic hate speech. And again, that is horrible. I'm not saying that is not a horrible thing. I don't want anyone to be targeted, no matter what. But again, if everything I'm going to talk about here has nothing to do with a religion or a person, whether you're Catholic or Jewish or Muslim, everyone's an individual. They may believe in certain things and group together like people do, but I believe in the individual. We are all unique. And what I'm going to talk about here is there are very two different things. There are countries, there are politics, there are governments. And when we talk about Israel or we talk about Palestine, and I am going to talk about Israel, and I'm sure the minute I say that, I'm canceled. Oh my God, you can't even say that word. It's ridiculous. I'm talking about the government. I'm talking about the plans that government makes, not the people. The people are just along for the ride. They don't have as much control as you think, just like you, obviously, in Australia or America, don't have as much control as you think. And so my problem here is I'll always be talking about the state of Israel and the decisions they make, just like any country, America, Australia. America, I won't deny it. They're one giant warmonger. They're the war machine. But I don't reflect that on the American people. Just like Australian people, like I said earlier, especially around Christmas, they just want to go to work. They want to build a legacy for their family. They want to do well and live in peace. That's the people. The governments, I don't know what to say. They've got a whole different ball game. So my problem here is that when you pick a particular group and make a law about it, now you've singled that out to say, well, why not other groups? You can't do that. This is not how this works. And Australia, I don't completely understand all the particular parliamentary procedure and laws, but I'll tell you what you don't have. You did not have a protection of the First Amendment and freedom of speech. And I know that any American will just say that, but they really don't understand it. Well, I do understand it. And when it's something written into the Constitution, it is at least protecting you. And I do believe in freedom of speech. I'm sorry. I believe speech is just speech. You may think, oh, that's hurtful. You hurt me with your words, so it's hate speech. I think it's rude and disrespectful speech for someone who cannot, eloquently provide the right argument and words in an open discourse. So yeah, from that point of view, all you can do is you can sell your point louder. You can turn that person. That's the most exciting thing of all. If you do feel like someone is on the wrong side of something, and when I say wrong side, who chooses the wrong side? I'm saying if they're factually backing something that is maybe obviously horrific, then the best you can do is make your point better. That's your job. That's up to you. Because when you silence their voice, for the moment, you're on the side that's currently favorable. And if you think that one day you won't be on the wrong side, you're silly, because that's the exact catch here. One day you might be on the wrong side of right, because right is something that's being decided somewhere else in a room at Parliament. That's the problem. So, you know, and I talk about who gets protected and who doesn't. Any group, like I said, Jewish or Catholic, if it's any group, if maybe it's African American, Asian Australian, Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander. Now, so these groups are just left out? That doesn't make sense, does it? So the hate speech laws are only for the group that's the current flavor of the politics at the moment. And I'm sorry, it is. Politicians love to grab on to the current thing. And this is the problem. You make the law for the law of the land or not at all. You don't pick a group. That in itself, I hate to use the word racist, but it is. It singles out a group based on a particular concept, a particular, whatever it is, whether it is about religion or skin color or height or gender. You can't do that, because now you're leaving out, so I can say hate speech against someone else. So this is the thing. You can say, Muslims are terrorists, and that's okay. That's horrible to just give that blanket rule. But you can't say anything about Israel. You can't have a comment on the government of Israel. You're done. You're done for. You're canceled. You're in jail. Do you understand why that's not right? And I just don't understand. And also, if you're able to draw lines between the past, and again, these are the kind of words that just get you canceled, but it's true. If you're able to, and I'm talking about the government, if you're able to draw lines between other governments in the past, for example, World War II, for example, yes, I'll say it, something like Nazi Germany, and when you say, this seems similar, this push for genocide, to pick out a certain group of people and make sure they are obliterated from another group who we happen to be friends with. Do you understand? It doesn't matter who we're aligned with at the moment. Wrong is wrong. Killing innocent women and children is wrong on both sides. I don't care. So if you're able to draw that line just based on facts and logic and historical documentation and historical facts, the fact that I just said that now, I'm in trouble, because I've drawn those lines with the state of Israel and what they're doing, which was, and I'm not the only one saying this, even other Jewish people are saying this when they draw the lines between, they don't like what the government is doing. But now you say that, and the government is all wrapped up with the people. Well, what are we doing here? So now any opinion that I have opinions about American government, opinions about Australian government, but if I have opinions about Israel, Jewish people and the Jewish faith is lumped onto it, and now it's anti-Semitic, and I'm done for. Do you understand why that doesn't make sense? If we live in a world where you're not able to criticize your own government, or God forbid another one, then we're done for. You're not a democracy. This does go back to sort of wrongthink. It's George Orwell's vision, the Orwellian concerns of thought crime in 1984. And again, I feel like we're living that more and more, let me tell you. And he warned of this, a society where the government controls, not just actions, but thoughts and opinions. And this is where we're at. You label something hate speech because you put the word hate in front of it. You're now saying the government is going to put a law and enforce that law because of your thoughts and opinions. Criticism of the government or certain groups becomes criminalized under the idea of wrongthink, as he called it. Well, guess what? Wrongthink is exactly hate speech and wrongthink. They've picked a certain side, like I said, and you can't argue with me about this one. You can, you're allowed. Of course you're allowed. But as I say, there is there is this group think right now that you can say anything terrible about Palestine or the Muslim community. And again, it's not about the people. If their governments can't sit down and get their crap together, that's a separate thing from the people. But you could say, Muslims are terrorists, and that's okay. I won't get put in jail for that. But again, if I say something against Israel, I'm in trouble. Okay, double standard city here. And, the risk of defining right and wrong thoughts, who determines what is acceptable? Okay? Should governments dictate what can be questioned? No. Because again, history tells us that's, right think is always subject to change. The political winds are always blowing through. And, today's righteous position may be tomorrow's crime. You have to understand that. And if you're someone who's not getting that, this is why I say it's always about open discourse. I don't want to silence you. I don't want to stop you. I want to have an open conversation, and we can bring our ideas to the table and have a talk about it. And we may not always agree. That is a fact. But what we can do is get incrementally closer to finding a balance and an agreement between still walking away friends. I feel like, and I never used to talk about politics. Movies and pop culture was it. But as I said, politics infected my life. It happened during COVID. I'm sorry. Politics and COVID and, the lockdowns, and especially living in Melbourne, Australia, it infected my life because it affected my life. And now I will not turn away. I want to be aware of what's happening to my life and why it's happening. The thing about, again, free speech, there's double standards. Should there be laws protecting all forms of hate speech equally, which again, I don't believe in, but it would be a better start than picking a group, and again, if it's just about feelings, I think the laws should be about actual harm. Okay. You shouldn't be able to harm another citizen in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia, America, anywhere. These laws are the laws I would rather have. Okay. But if I've hurt someone's feelings, I'm sorry. Like I said, I hate peas. I'm going to start a campaign war against peas. I'm going to have it all over social media. I can't stand peas. They should be taken off the standard, meat and veggie list. And you may not agree, so you want to go to the government and make sure that I'm banned. I am banned from giving my opinion about peas. Okay, I get it. It's a bit different because you think, well, that's peas. Who cares? Well, it's when it comes to people as well. You can't just choose to silence a thought because the next time it could be you. I think again, especially during COVID, Victorians, the lockdowns lost so many freedoms, and in Victoria, the lockdowns, I think left a lot of us feeling, trapped and disillusioned. And yeah, I'm sorry, I've had these podcasts before. A lot of it was just based on crap. It was just based on, we'll just do this, based on no science at all. And I do believe that America as well, the governments took advantage of the crisis to erode freedoms. And I'm sorry, this is just the next evolutional step towards that. And, now with the hate speech law, it's about just slowly taking away freedoms that you won't notice. I suppose it's the slow Band-Aid, coming off very slowly. And I think, laws restricting speech are being used to further control public discourse. And I hope you're all waking up to the fact that's not right. And again, you're like, oh, so you want hate speech? Oh, you're just an anti-Semitic, racist pig. Yes, I've heard it all. And you know what's funny about that? When you get called whatever those names are, and the more people call them, they completely lose their value, and it becomes just boring. You're just a misogynist, racist pig, whatever. It's like, yeah, okay. Now that we got that out of the way, let's have a chat. You know what I mean? That's the thing. The words, they don't hurt. For some, words do hurt, and I acknowledge that. I acknowledge your word hurt feelings. But you know what? You're still alive. okay. And I've just thought, yes, then you think, but the words and people who are getting riled up on social media, the next step it leads to actual violence. And that's why I started with, at the beginning of this is why in some ways it is on us a bit. We all need to, like I said, think about others. That's why I started with this, because it would probably come around to, oh, well, the whole point is spreading of hate speech, and it inflames those groups who are already in a bit of an echo chamber, and that's all we are on social media. We just get fed into the things we click on. We get more of it. And if you are positive in love, you get puppies and rainbows. If you're hate, you're just going to get more hate. I totally get that, and I'm aware of it. This is why we need to make the change, so that the government doesn't come in and take all your freedoms away, and one day you won't have any voice about anything, any opinion you have about anybody, any opinion you have about a movie or the color of a building. Don't tell me you think, oh, that'll never happen. Once that genie's out of the bottle of making laws about your opinion, it won't stop. So we do need to calm down and chill. And no, it's not good to get on and be so hateful and spread such hate. However, if you are passionate about something, and if it is about two countries who the governments are currently at war, and I'm sorry, both those countries, and yes, guess what, including Israel, whoever stands up and says, oh, but it was you first, it was us first, we're just defending, that goes on and on. It never ends. It never ends. That discussion will just go into a loop. But when it comes to both of them saying, well, based on my opinion and the way I feel and how I feel right about this, we are going to kill men, women, and children. And if two military-age men and groups want to fight, that's still terrible. But both sides killing innocent, women and children, that's disgusting and that's despicable. And no, we shouldn't get to that point. But I still stand firm on the fact that there is only freedom of speech. There is no bad speech. There is no good speech. There's rude speech. There's disgusting, disrespectful speech. And yes, how do you fix that? I hate to be the cheesy, let's all think positive Christmas love kind of thing. You can only do that by affecting them and infecting them with a positive opinion and being stronger than them, being stronger to stand up to that, being stronger to stand up to their words with your ability to show them a better way, to show them a positive way, to show them family and friends and love, and that there are other things to focus on, and not to just righteously stand by something so much that it gets you to the point where you are feeling, hateful against someone else. And again, you're like, everything you said, none of that's going to fix it. That's something I feel like we will get closer by all of us still having an open conversation, and those who have the positive feelings have to be louder. The minute you stifle freedom of speech and you stop open debate, which are the pillars of democracy, and you let the government to pick certain groups and say, well, this one is now a law. This one is now a law. Hating peas is now a law. I'm just saying, it won't stop. Freedom of expression should never be sacrificed for, political or social expediency. What do we do in the future? Like I say, anyone's voice can be silenced based on political or social agendas. So just don't. Let the people talk. And I think the good will come through. The truth will come through. And as I said, the people aren't the government. The Jewish people and the traditions and the religion are not their government. And so if you say, I have an opinion about the way their government are acting like warmongers, now I've said something against all Jewish people. No. That's wrong, and please wake up to it. And politicians get up there and they look so, it makes me sick. They look so emotional and passionate. We're going to stop this, and we're behind you. Those platitudes sound good, but then why aren't they behind you? Maybe you're Catholic, maybe you're Muslim, maybe you're agnostic, maybe you're a hardworking Australian just trying to get by. They're not protecting you. You could have someone throw hate speech at you all day, and they probably did hurt your feelings, but it's not a law. Do you want them to make it a law, or would you just rather discussion was open, freedom of speech remained, and we all just grew up a little bit? I think that would be the better one. We all just grew up a little bit and try to be a bit more respectful and thoughtful of others, rather than telling the government, God, yeah, more laws, baby. Lock us down. I'll stay in my home. I'll stay off social media. I won't say anything that you tick the box and tell me not to. Keep adding them. Keep adding more things, more groups, more opinions I can't have. You're right. I'll stay at home and I'll just get Uber Eats and I won't leave. I won't have an opinion. Lock me down, baby. Is that what you want? Or do you want to live life? I say live life and be good to yourself and each other. Let's start with that. So I don't know if I fixed anything, but I certainly did tell you I don't think these laws are the way to go. But again, that's my opinion, and I could be wrong. And you know what? You can have an opinion against me. But hey, I'd love to chat about it because that's me. And if you did hurt my feelings, I'll deal with it. That's what you do. That's also called being an adult. All right, well, that's all my thoughts on such a heavy subject, but I'm going to leave it there, and you know what? We're going to come back with some awesome Christmas rock on Radio Emotion's episode of Christmas Rock right after word from our awesome sponsors.